there's going to be times where you have no shoots. So, would I lie to you when I'm creating a YouTube review? New month and new video, and we are now into May. In the early days of self-employment and starting this business, I used to have a business mentor called Tony. Now, something that Tony always used to talk about was something called a groggy frog. These little annoying jobs that you just really don't enjoy doing. And the advice that Tony always used to say was, put your groggy frogs to the very top of your to-do list. So since I got that advice at the beginning of every month, I address all my kind of archive and storage needs. I do have kind of a Synology NAS server just down here, but that is solely reserved for kind of client and production work. But on top of that, I now have all the YouTube videos that are starting to collect so much space. I've gone for a much simpler and old school method of archiving footage. I've got myself one of these Sabran kind of old disk drive readers. I have this little silver case that holds the drives to keep it all nice and secure, and then I will just keep that separate to wherever my SSD is. Looking at my own calendar right now, I have 2 confirmed shoots that are paid deposits and are definitely going ahead, and I have a 6/7 possible shoots that I can pretty much promise will not all go ahead. I guess my whole point here is that you should not stress too much. In this fast-paced world, there's going to be times where you have no shoots, and shoots come week by week. I can promise you from 15 years of doing this, there's going to be ups and downs. Just stay persistent, stay strong, and always improve, and I can guarantee that it will work. One of my favourite things about filming YouTube is just the fact that I get to experiment with different lighting setups on my talking heads. This F22 Amaran, I've lifted the grid up just a little bit, just so it hits the desk. A little bit more, and my shirt was looking a bit dark when I was sat here. I have this 60X just strapped to the ceiling here. Sometimes I use an RGB panel, I'll do some teal or something. But yeah, this just hits my outer rim, my hat and shoulders. And then finally, I just have some practicals. I got these 3 bulbs from IKEA. They're really dim, so they expose really well. Edison bulbs, are they called? And then I've got a little couple, an Aperture MC Pro, Aperture Mini Tube. And what I like about this is, I obviously try to light this up, but mainly as it reflects in here. Right, it's a bank holiday Monday and I'm back at the office, and I really shouldn't be. Tomorrow, I am back on a fresh production. It is a 2-day shoot for a brand new client that I'm really excited about. Currently, I'm just trying to tidy up the van here as it is a total mess. I'm not one of those super clean gaffers or DPs who has their van super well organised. Mine is a total mess. And as this van is a crew cab, meaning it seats 6 people, half of the load space is taken up by a row of 3 seats. But that does leave this back area here a lot smaller. It's just about enough for our needs at the moment, but I do anticipate that in the future we're going to need a bigger van. Another cool little thing is we slide our kind of flags, and a 4x4 diffusion fits with literally millimetre spacing at either side. It's such a nice fit. Cool little story and lesson about the shoot tomorrow is when we purchased our Sony Bravano, me and the other guys was kind of sat around having meetings talking about which way to take the business. And I'm sure you've heard this before, and it's something that I really believe in, is you should never feel comfortable taking a step into the Sony Bravano and how expensive it was versus my old A-cam, which was the Ursa Mini G2. That camera cost me around $5,000 and it was the best investment I've probably ever made. So jumping into the Sony Bravano and at the same time investing in some new Cineglass, dropping around $35,000–$40,000 on equipment to get fully set up was a big step. And one of the main benefits of making such a large jump is the fact that me and everyone else felt uncomfortable. We felt like, although things had been going absolutely fine and we was a profitable business, that we could no longer carry on doing the same old things. So one of the tactics we decided to do was just kind of make a list of our ideal and dream clients who we'd like to make content for and work with. And one of those people on that list is our client tomorrow. The way this happened was we as a company reached out to all these companies, and the head of marketing at our new client tomorrow got back to us and specifically stated he had been on our profile and seen we have a Sony Burano. So as much as I believe that equipment does not matter and the Sony Burano is too expensive, there is something to be said about it matters, image, perception. One of the main ingredients to growing and getting to your goals is just never accept the piece of work you've just created. Like, starting tomorrow, that needs to be the best work I have ever done. And if it is not, I have failed. That doesn't mean I should give in, but that means I should acknowledge that the next time I need to go again and improve even more. So this morning, me, Aaron and Will jumped on a call and we did a little breakdown as what is needed for us to achieve what we want to achieve in each of those scenarios. The one issue I found when planning out the scenarios was that we want an on-camera mic on the Burano when capturing the training footage. So I've managed to get a microphone on here. As you can see, it's not perfect. This is a small rig locking cold shoe going into a 1/4-20 on the side of the handle. Then there is this microphone holder, which is cold shoe on the bottom, and then obviously takes the shotgun mic on top. I could do with a smaller cable. I did have a small one at one point, but don't know where that is. But this one's fine as it's new, so it's nice and neat and tie wrapped. But yeah, it does not affect holding the handle too much. Can still get a full grip on the camera. And it does not protrude too far in front of the lens. These are really small lenses. The mic holder has a built-in shock mount that lets it wiggle around to avoid vibrations coming up the mic. And I think for tomorrow's shoot this will be absolutely perfect. Something else I'm going to do today is draw the winner of my Crane 3S gimbal. So if you join my newsletter to enter, check your emails as the email will have been sent out by now by the time you're watching this video. What I'm going to do is first I'll generate a page number. There is 1 to 29 pages. That is page number 13. There are 30 people on this page, so I will randomly generate 1 to 30, 21. We'll count from the top. Daniel, you've won a gimbal. Right, so I'll reach out to Daniel via his email and hopefully I'll give him a little bit of time to get back to me and I will post him my gimbal. Just putting the last little bits in the van, not too full. So this was the first location for the shoot. There was windows on every single wall, which is not ideal for shaping light. We was running the Burano handheld and we chucked up a director's monitor for the producer to watch as they knew a lot more about the finished edit than we did, just to give us back some feedback. We had the Lauer Cine Zoom using Super 35 mode on the Burano and it was going pretty excellent. After we got all the B-roll, we jumped into an interview, clapperboard for syncing mics and both cameras. The B camera on this was the Blackmagic full frame with an 85mm Nisi lens on. For audio, we used the Deitech shotgun mic going into a Mix Pre 3. This is pretty much our go-to for overhead audio. We also had a different option. We used a Zoom F2 lav mic, what he would wear in the shot, just to give us a backup or another option. We was using the Sony Burano in full frame mode with a 25mm. We had our f22 at 60%, just pushing more light from the direction of the windows, trying to get shadow towards camera. And we had a hair light of a 60x just coming from the back of the gym. I wish we had more control over the shadows and lighting a bit here, but I think we did really well with what we had available on the day.
You know, no one scares me. His punch pad doesn't scare me, his record doesn't scare me.
Day 2 on the boxing production and we have just arrived at the office. The alarm is going off. Thought we'd been burgled. Turns out we hadn't. So, good start. And we're just going to load up and get on the road ASAP so we are not late.
So same setup as the day before. We captured B-roll first, then into interviews. I would say the lighting inside this location was worse. We had some tube lights overhead that was flickering bad when going into higher frame rates. So we had to kind of work with that as there was multiple fighters in the gym. Into the interview though, and same again, 25mm full frame Burano, 85 full frame Blackmagic for B-cam. Same mic overhead and same lav mic. Roughly the same setup, same lighting and same hair light once again, as they need to look as similar as possible. There's also other camera crews, but we shared reference frames to try and match this style of interview. Once we turn the tube lights off, I think this come out pretty well.
I've had some good wins, confidence is built, fitness is built, the engine's there. It's going to be a good fight, but a fight that I'm more than confident of winning.
It's a few days later now, and anyone who watched the last monthly production direct will recognise these clips. I managed to get commissioned to do the colour grade and just finish up the project after the editor had got the edit signed off. So here I am just going through. I have this really structured way of colour grading and finishing projects. I might actually create a workshop on it pretty soon, as it's something I've created over like a decade of tweaking and taking information from different people. I'm actually using my Resolve mini panel that I know you guys cannot see, but I like to use the reference of kind of sanding wood when it comes to colour grading. It just requires multiple passes, going over it and over it again. Kind of break it down into different things for different passes. This one you're watching now is all the masking and just picking out individual like secondaries, and it's something I would do towards the end just to blend stuff up. I would say it took me around 8 hours to grade this. It was a 30-second long video, but it has multiple sections to it. Another question I got was a lot of people want to see the finished edit after seeing the individual clips of project, and I'm working on that. This one goes live when Deadpool goes live in cinemas, as it will be one of the adverts pre-movie that you see. So as soon as it goes live, hopefully in next month's video, I'll be able to show you the actual finished video, what has kind of motion graphics over it. And I personally had a glimpse of it, and I think it looks really good. So looking pretty forward to sharing that with everybody. Back onto another university shoot, and this one is another day on the one with the animations being drawn over the top. There's going to be loads of students sat at the desk here in this location, and the cartoon character will run past outside the window. The problem I was having, as it was a very dull day and all the other shots was kind of blue sky, so we had to kind of address that in filming, knowing that there's probably going to be a sky replacement. You see here we're testing out lights. We're on the 25mm Nisi lens. We added a Pro Mist just to try and soften off those windows a little bit, and we chucked up a 300x at 100%. This is really to create reflections across the tables and floor. On the other side we did the same again, but this time with a Nova 300. Again, same colour temperature, 100%, and as you see along the floor here, it's these reflections we are trying to create, knowing that the sky is going to be replaced and the shot is probably going to be warmed up a little bit.
It is about 8 PM. I had a call time of 5 AM this morning to put things into perspective. I do have a meeting on Zoom around 10:30 with someone in the US. Even though it has been a long day, I have got so much done, and I'm just about to record the extra section or bonus section covering the new update to the Panasonic S5 II. That is going on my Cine Guide. So if you're someone who is already not part of the community and in the Cine Guide, link down below, jump in there, check it out for more info. Make sure you come and join us over in that community. We have the Canon C70. I've never actually shot on this camera. I've never actually held it or even been near one. I've seen it a lot online and people using it, and it's always intrigued me to see what it's actually like. I'm a bit late in the day getting to test it, but I'm still gonna make a video on it and give people my thoughts. Flout car. I've got a sneaky suspicion that this is actually going to be really good and keep up with all the modern cameras, as if we're a bit honest, the camera world has been pretty stagnant the last couple of years. So yeah, this camera today review, I'll take you along with me and we'll see what we can capture with it. The location to test the C70 is Wentworth. This big, massive, old, grand home. So yeah, we're gonna get some B-roll, do some test footage, try out the different resolutions and codecs. Let's see what this camera is made of. This house is actually the location they used for The Crown on Netflix, and I believe Bridgerton. There was a couple others they told us while we was there. I really enjoyed using the C70. I'm gonna link my full thoughts at the end of this video, so make sure to jump on that next. Yo, 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 yo. Back on the university shoot. I think this is day like 5, 6 maybe. not sure, not counting. But yeah, we are back on just getting more plates for the animator. So it's the commercial, which is going to have the animations over it. So yeah, we're back. Drone work, camera work, probably going to be Burano and Mavic 3. So yeah, just going to get some plates for the animator. Trying to get as many as possible to give them different weather options in the edit. So yeah, I've also brought on the C70 to hopefully sneak a couple shots in with that and carry on my review.
Let's go forward a bit.
Walking down here to these traffic signals, because basically what's happening is the road is so busy, we're worried that when the animator draws on the cartoons or the animated characters, that there'll be no room for them to step on the ground. So what I'm gonna do is, they're gonna tell me when. I'm gonna use these crossings here to set them going, and then that hopefully gives us the clear path further down the road so we get our shot. Hovering there, this is the crossing here, and we're trying to get this road to be as clear as possible. My previous upload was the Burano versus the Ursa Cine, and in general it's just a really interesting comparison. If you've not seen that video, make sure I will link at the end of this one so you can jump straight in to watch that. As I released the Burano versus the Ursa Cine, is Blackmagic applied a 40% discount to the full frame Blackmagic cinema camera. Now this is amazing. For a camera that now costs around $1,500, the image quality is just absurd. It's unheard of. That is so accessible to people that can't afford big expensive cameras who are early in their careers and journey, and I absolutely love it. But from a business point of view, for Blackmagic, I think this is a bad move. I'm sure they're trying to shift all the leftover stock they have, as they probably see that sort of Blackmagic Pocket 4K, 6K, 6K Pro and full frame cinema camera. They may have done the tooling and engineering costs to be able to make that body, and they're trying to recoup the last little bit of profit out of it. Thinking back to the original 12K Super 35 Ursa and how they discounted that heavily, now they have done the same with the Blackmagic full frame. Maybe you run a hire company somewhere in London, LA, New York, wherever you are. You've got to think a lot of that business model is built on purchasing that camera for X amount of price, renting it out X amount of times, or doing enough work on the camera, then maybe one day sell that camera for X amount of value. Now, if you purchase the Ursa Cine and 1 year later Blackmagic decide to take 50, 40, 30% off that price cut, not only do you feel hard done by because you've spent $20,000 on a camera that is now much cheaper, you've also lost the resale value. Can you imagine if Arri or Sony took the Venice or the Alexa and were just like, here's a 40% discount? That would be crippling for people who invested in multicam Alexa setups, multicam Venice setups. This is just bad for business. But while we are talking about reviewing gear, I guess we have all probably seen at this point Gerald Undun's video and the whole drama. Would you call it drama? So, would I lie to you when I'm creating a YouTube review? I think the way Gerald breaks this down is pretty amazing. It's excellent. If you've not seen the video, go watch it. It's quite long, but it's really informative and it gives you a great idea of how it works behind the scenes. I'm someone who's been creating videos for 1.5 years now, and even I learned how it works as I'm still relatively small and early in my journey. He breaks it down into 3 stages of kind of YouTube career. And stage 1 is like, nobody watches you, nobody cares, nobody knows who you are, you've got 0 subs, and you've got to build an audience. Stage 2, according to Gerald's breakdown, is where brands start reaching out. They start offering you gear and equipment to review. A lot of it you have to return, some of it you get to keep. Some of it is like weirdly in the middle where it's a long-term loan and you get to keep it until one day they say, send it back. And I would see myself right on the line between stage 1 and stage 2. I would say brands are starting to reach out. I've actually had multiple paid opportunities, and I would say 90% of those were just random stuff that would make no sense for me to talk about. And I'm sure a lot of YouTubers receive those same offers, and obviously I decline those or just ignore them altogether. I have had 2 known brands reach out, one being a classic VPN, and the other being an actual brand from inside the camera industry, offering me paid opportunities. I turned down the VPN just as I'm not ready for it just yet. The second one was just a piece of equipment I'm not interested in, and if I'm not interested in it, I will not take the $500 I got offered to make a review video on it. I'm just someone who loves film technology and video technology, so I will review gear all day long. I know there's a lot of channels out there and a lot of people talk about GAS, what is that, gear acquisition syndrome, and you don't need the latest and greatest. And I agree, but flip reverse that, I actually hate the saying gear does not matter. Gear absolutely matters. Story is king, but gear is not far behind it. Gear enables us to tell better stories. But if you're someone who maybe just owns a mirrorless camera and a kit zoom lens, you don't have a shotgun mic, lav mics, you don't have a light, a key light, a hair light, then how can people tell you that gear does not matter? No matter how good you are, yes, you can use daylight and in-camera audio or something, but it's just, the truth of the matter is, gear is the tools that allow us to do better jobs. So gear does matter. But going back to the paid promotion and me turning them down, I am not some kind of noble warrior. I definitely do this to help people out or create conversation. I love talking to other people who love film gear, but I'm definitely motivated by money. I am a businessman. I run a small business. I like to build teams and get people paid. I don't think there's anything wrong in wanting to earn money. There are certain YouTubers out there who kind of give the impression of that they are 100% not doing it for the money. And I think that raises more red flags than if someone is just honest and says, yep, I love film equipment, I love giving out advice and helping people, and I also love earning money. I'm going to actively try not to get influenced by brands if they're saying they're going to send me this expensive camera and they're saying you might be able to keep it. That will make me really excited, as I love cameras. But I'm going to go out of my way to make sure that I'm not conflicted and I'm always honest. There is a really big camera manufacturer that I'm quite well known for. You can probably have a good guess at which one it is, who recently contacted me telling me they wanted to send me out one of their latest new camera releases. The thought has already come into my mind of when I get the camera, if I find the negatives, hopefully they don't exist, but if they do, and I tell people about those negatives in the video, they will probably not send me any more cameras. I kind of don't mind being the guy that don't have exclusive access to cameras, and maybe people watch my videos even if they're a bit late, but just for my own opinion, I'm someone who actually takes the cameras and uses them in real world environments to earn money. So I think even if my review is 6 months late, so be it. As long as I can be honest and tell people how the camera really is, I think that will take me the furthest on this YouTube journey. But if you want to watch any of the videos I've created inside this vlog, they're on screen now.